Hi dear friends, welcome back to Akshadhare. This is Devraj. I hope you guys are enjoying the days and learning great. Yes, and earning great. Today is 10th October 2023, and let's start today newspaper reading. Before going to start the today newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends. It may useful for somebody. So let's start today newspaper reading and see what's in today news. ACB court dismisses Naidu's bail petition. Nationwide caste census pot up agenda. The state seizure of India's fresh press. The SC must act with judicial courage. Unemployment rate in urban areas dips. Santner spins Kiwis to thumping win. Assembly elections in five key states in November. Israel imposes total siege on Gaza. Death count rises. Hello alert in city today. Spark from cracker box caused fire at Atibile go down. Judge selection delay not away advisable CCC. State as opal of center acknowledging drought, releasing funds quickly. Economics Nobel for a study on gender gap at workplace. Automated plan approval system to approve plans to construct houses in Bangalore. To plug property tax leakage, government is all set to link BBMP property with UPOR databases. Entire Whitefield Challagatta Purple Line now active. Passengers delighted. Commuters who have waited for months can travel hassle free from KR to Bayapanalli, escaping the usual traffic congestion in East Bangalore. South Asia first aircraft recovery training school established at KIA. South Asia's first aircraft recovery training school established at KIA. Senior Kannada journalist Ranganath Rao dead. Stakeholders oppose changes to city school hours. Heavy rainfall in city, yellow alert today. Traffic, garbage, property tax key priorities of brand Bangalore. BMTC bus runs over 3 years old boy. Sleuths raid biryani outlets. Spark from cracker box being carried inside caused fire at Atibale Godown, claims witness. State Opal of Center acknowledging drought releasing fund quickly. No Indians injured in Hamas attack on Israel. Number of drought hit taluks likely to go up as government orders ground truthing in 21 taluks. 195 taluks of the total 236 in the state have already been declared as drought hit in the first list, and the second is list is set to be announced soon. Bhavendra Kumar appointed ED of Canara Bank. Kaveri Row farmers meet CWMWMA chairman, Water Resources Minister in Delhi. Dispose of Baghai Hukum applications within 6 months. Report on irregularities in cooperative societies in a month. Lack of amenities in government schools forcing four to send children to private schools, says High Court. Court convicts Dio for blackmailing BJP leader. How assisted technology made this marathon inclusive, exploring the ecologist and philosophical anarchist in Gandhi. B. Jayasree's contemporary take on the Sri Krishna Parijata. Of what once was, with great ease, an exhibition of photographs by T.S. Satyan is currently underway at the Museum of Art and Photography in the city. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Addicted to applause. 11 killed in a Hariyalur firecracker unit blast. HC-ACP could dismiss a TDP chief's bail petition. Naidu gets no relief in a skilling project case, Amravati Inner Ring Road alignment and FiberNet scams. ACP Special Court dismisses CID's petition for 5-day additional custody of Naidu. Can prior sanction be used to defeat aim of corruption law? SCC asks Naidu. 7 killed after 2 trucks hit SUV near Ospede. The silence around the state seizure of India's press. Let's read this editorial page. Over 50 years ago, the Supreme Court of India ruled that during an emergency proclamation, individuals could not challenge illegal detentions. While the ADM and Jabalpur's is famous for its disturbing decision, Justice H.R. Khanna's courageous dissent is what stands apart. Later, the court in the Justice K.S. Puttaswamy case recognized both the right to privacy and expressly repudiated ADM Jabalpur as a discordant note. Yet, even 6 years after Puttaswamy enforcement worries intensify, recent actions against journalists from the online portal NewsClick, such as raids, seizures, and arrests, amplified the calls for protections of digital data. To speak in a plain manner, many question whether they are living through an emergency with ADM Jabalpur being dead only in letter but flourishing in print. Aggressive actions by the executive. The union executive's aggressive actions against NewsClick, accusing staff of terrorism, reflect a wider issue. India ranks 161 out of 181 countries in the World Press Freedom Index, which considers legal interference in journalism. Tanishka Sodhi's data from Newslandry shows that by May 2023, 44 media entities and journalists faced scrutiny from investigative and tax agencies over the previous 5 years. An opinion article in this daily by this right to media rates and breaking the silence on Press freedom. March 10 emphasizes the serious threats from digital device seizures in these incidents. This pressing danger to the media prompted the suggestion of legal reforms in the article, proposing guidelines akin to the DK Basu case for personal data search and seizure. If the Supreme Court chooses to intervene, what might these guidelines resemble? To understand them, we must explore our current policing methods, their clash with fundamental rights, and the road to reform. In the age of instant messaging and cloud storage, the code of criminal procedure rooted in the time of telegraphs and wooden chess guides India's criminal justice process. This approach not only ignores the invasiveness of modern technological advances but also struggles to uphold democratic rights within the Constitution of India. Chapter 8 of the Code houses the essence of these search and seizure powers. It outlines provisions for voluntary document submission and police actions based on properly obtained warrants. Yet, in the quotidian experience of Indians, there are mere formalities, and formalities are rarely respected. Most people willingly comply with law enforcement demands, even without warrants, fearing heightened risks such as physical assaults or prosecution under an unrelated charge. The Lokniti CSDS Common Cause status of policing in India report shows that 47% believe that the police can access their phones without consent, even when acting within the law. The police, with their broad exceptions, can easily sidestep the need for a warrant. Magistrates are rarely provide a thorough check, often issuing warrants without detailed review. This already fragile safeguard in further eroded by specific laws such as Prevention of Money Laundering Act and the Income Tax Act. Disturbingly, these provisions clash with the right to privacy and protection against self-incrimination. As stated in Part 3rd and Article 23 of the Constitution, in such a climate, the only real safeguards come from technological precautions such as encrypted messaging apps with settings to delete old messages. But even this defense crumbles when a police constable confiscates a smartphone and forces you to unlock it and retriever back. Can the police do this? The High Court, the Karnataka High Court in the Virendra Khanna versus State of Karnataka case determined that an arrested individual can indeed be coerced to unlock their smartphone, granting law enforcement unrestricted access to personal data. This not only affects journalists but seemingly endorses mass searches and stop and frisk tactics, currently manifesting as cordon searches. Prominently in Hyderabad, here offense officers can intrude into a restaurant and are stop people on the road, insisting on phone unlocking and scanning WhatsApp conversations for terms such as drugs. While as Central Bureau of Investigation Special Court has ruled to the contrary and the law is in flux, the confusion results in a guarantee of investigatory operation. Each day this legal vacuum exists results in grave danger to the future of journalism in India. The searches on over 40 journalists who worked with NewsClick consisted primarily of young freelancers associated with multiple publications. The forceful unlocking of their devices and subsequent cloning of their content uncovers information far behind the scope of typical criminal investigations. Such access lays bare years of their personal and professional communications, exposing intricate relationships, networks, and confidential sources. Notably, there is a real threat that some of these conversations, particularly those from email and apps such as WhatsApp may surface on mainstream television, inciting hysterical national security debates. And this intrusion is not just because the reports challenge powerful governmental and private sector entities, but also because they critique the Delhi police actions directly. Their interrogations pivot on three significant events: the anti-farm law protest, the Northeast Delhi roads of 2020, and the response to COVID-19. All these events are not just matters of public interest demanding accountability from the union government, but also subjects of criminal prosecutions by the Delhi police. The very entity they report on now investigates and knows everything about them. The quiet judiciary, even at an individual level, many Indian journalists must feel a deep inner despondency for not only prosecution but also the absence of corrective action by the judiciary. Take for instance the journalist Paranjoy Guha Takurta, who consults with a NewsClick and was interrogated by the Delhi police. Before the recent seizures of his digital devices, the Pegasus spyware compromised his phone, prompting him to seek the Supreme Court's intervention. Yet his case, among others, has not seen a hearing in over a year. Even with an order specifying a listing within 4 weeks, this stupor by the judiciary can easily be shrugged up by addressing cases such as those from Ram Ramaswamy and the Foundation of Media for Media Professionals. These cases advocate for protective measures, compulsory warrants, seizure of specificity, protection against post device unlocks, and hash value generation for secured evidence. When overruling ADM Jabalpur, the top court has also stated when histories of nations are written and critiqued, there are judicial decisions at the forefront of liberty. Today, the problem seems to be that it is avoiding even making them. Today, our nation is not just passing through a transitory emergency, it is going through a transformational phase of digital authoritarianism. In this difficult time, it is principal journalists who are helping check power and hence maintain India's constitutional framework that is under clever and muscular forms of challenge. It requires the Supreme Court of India to take the principal lesson of Justice H.R. Khanna's dissent, which is to act with judicial courage, knowing it comes with sacrifice. Let's go to the next page. Mental health and the plundering informal worker. The theme of the World Mental Health Day, October 10th this year, is a mental health is a universal human right. A segment often overlooked when it concerns mental health is the informal worker. A study by the International Labour Organization says that 15% of working age adults globally live with a mental disorder. On one hand, decent work influences mental health in a positive way, while on the other, unemployment or unstable or precarious employment, workplace discrimination or poor and particularly unsafe working environments can all pose a risk to a worker's mental health. Workers in low paid, unrewarding or insecure job or working in isolation are more likely to be exposed to psychosocial risks, thus compromising their mental health. The Indian experience. India's informal workforce accounts for more than 90% of the working population. These workers often operate without regulatory protection, work in unsafe working environments, endure long hours, have little access to low social or financial protections, suffer high uncertainty, and are deep precarity. precarity, and face discriminations, all of which further undermine mental health and limit access to mental health care. Gender disparities are also stark, with over 95% of India's working women engaged in informal, low paying, and precarious employment, often without social protection. In addition to suffering patriarchal structures and practices in their social and familial spaces. According to the United Nations Development Program, unemployment, poor quality unemployment have consistently been detrimental to mental health. The Lokniti group within the Center for the Study of Developing Societies, which interviewed and 1316 youth aged between 15 to 34 years across 18 states in India, has shown that they are highly susceptible to negative emotions. Youth and unemployment is one of the highest in India, which, along with the stigma and around and unemployment, significantly impacts their mental health. Moreover, an ILO report highlights how young workers are shifting to more precarious and informal work, accepting less pay and poor working conditions out of desperation, and sometimes giving up and exists exerting the labor force altogether. The state of inequality in India report 2022 observes that the unemployment rate actually increases with the educational levels, particularly for educated young women who show an unemployment rate of 42%. With this phase of demographic dividend, where half of India's population is of working age and projected to remain so for decades, it is pertinent to think about the quality of employment along and long-term social security for them. India will also become an aging society in 20 years with no apparent social security roadmap for this rapidly growing group that is especially vulnerable to poor mental health. The census of India 2011 shows that 33 million elderly people are working post-retirement years in informal work. Another study that by the ILO by an elderly employment in India shows high poverty among them in terms of economic dependence and access to financial assets. The absence of proper financial and healthcare security among the working elderly can severely impact their physical and mental health, aggravating their vulnerability. And social security. Informal workers face mental distress due to accumulating debate and rising healthcare costs, which are intertwined and mutually reinforcing. A study by Women in Informal Employment, Globalizing and Organizing among Informal Workers in Delhi, mostly migrants, indicates that recovery post COVID 19 remains uneven among informal workers cohorts. Many still report food insecurity, skipped meals, and reduced consumption, as observed by the Keshav Deshi Raju India Mental Health Observatory. Mental health and well being are impacted by factors such as food security, access to livelihood, and financial stability, while certain schemes have received a higher allocation this year. Others, such as the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, have seen their funding slashed. In 2021, the National Crime Records Bureau reported that 26% of the people who died by suicide were daily wage earners. Employment guarantee programs can indeed improve mental health outcomes. Thus, social security can be promotional, aiming to augment income, preventive, aiming to foster economic distress, and protective, aiming to ensure relief from external shocks. A relook at the Code on Social Security 2020 shows how glaring issues concerning the social security of India's informal workforce still remain unheeded. While India should universalize social security, the current code does not state this as a goal. Care needs drastic improvement. Informal workers, despite their significant contribution to national income, are perennially exposed to various economic, physical, and mental vulnerabilities. India's budgetary allocation for mental health, currently under 1% of the total health budget, has over focused on the digital mental health program. As the mental World Mental Health Report 2020 observed, addressing mental health involves strengthening community-based care and people-centered, recovery-oriented, and human rights-oriented care. This is an urgent need for proactive police policies to improve mental health recognition and action. This is critical in upholding the basic human right to good health, including mental health, and in advancing to the sustainable development goals, especially the SDG 3 on good health and well-being, and SDG 3.8 on decent work for all economic growth. Let's go to the next page. Yes, of course, the mental health is very important in informal work. So they have to take care themselves in workplaces. Virginal sin. Israeli occupation of Palestine territories must end for lasting peace. Glittering show India's best ever tally in Asian Games came from a diverse set of events. The end of the two-state solution, decoding Modi's three charges. Why his accusation against the Telangana Chief Minister may not cut eyes. Festive cheer, urban consumer confidence at 7-year peak. War told by Communics. Congress-led government will hold caste census, says CWC. Will remove the cap of 50% on reservation through legislation and implement women's reservation law to provide 33% quota for women in Lok Sabha and Assembly, says resolution. Need to counter PM's baseless attack on Congress, says Kogi. SC reserves order on plea by NewsClick founder HR official. Smart fence along Myanmar border in the pipeline government. SC bench to hear Sharat Khan's plea on October 13. Israel Hamas conflicts cast shadow on economic initiatives, says official. CWC voices support for Palestinians, calls for urgent ceasefire. Rajnath will show the doors to Congress, says Union Minister. BJP to test ideas for 2024 in the five assembly elections. The upcoming polls will offer insight into issues that could be highlighted by the BJP in the general election next year. The party is fielding many LS members in both MP and Rajasthan. Poll announcement marks farewell of BJP Ali's Congress. 7 MPs among 44 candidates in BJP's first list for Rajasthan. BJP's fourth list of MPs out. Chavan to defend his bastion. Former CM Raman Singh named in BJP's Chhattisgarh second list. Urban unemployment rate drops to 6.6% in quarter 1. For men, it decreased from 7.1% to 5.9%, and for women, it decreased from 9.5% to 9.1%. Show NSSO data. The labor force participation rate in the urban areas increased from 47.5% to 48.8%. Three number calls up MG and REGS sit in after governor's assurance. 7 bodies recovered after boulders and rocks hit vehicle. CBI arrests 5 on charge of misappropriating RLDA funds. Stroke deaths are likely to surge to 9.7 million by 2050, says report. Uttarakhand CM orders verification of madrasas. ICMR to conduct study to develop solutions to remedy childhood undernutrition. Worshipping ancestors. Gaja strap raises worries for inflation. Official math. Rupee. Global crude oil prices surged more than 3% on Monday, even as stocks tanked amid a risk averse stance from investors who rushed to save on assets such as gold. Business continuity plan for Israelis of Haifa foods ready. September auto retail sales rise 20% on demand. Physical consolidation to clip public capex. Mahindra last mile mobility gets 300 crore from IFC. E2W's volume growth to slow to 25% this fiscal year. Crazy. Dr. Reddy's faces antitrust plaint in US on cancer drug. Wouldn't fund a thermal power by power behind 2030. IRDAI issues norms on Bima Vahaks. Macron said to meet College in a bid to shore up France-Germany ties. Robert K.F. Kennedy Jr. will run for U.S. president as an independent. Bangladesh opposition leader Jia at high risk of death. Doctors, volunteers dig for Quaker survivors in Afghanistan as aid trickles in. What did Hamas achieve from attack on Israel? For a country that's proud of its intelligence prowess and military superiority, which it never hesitated to use. The failures on October 7 is likely to haunt Israel's leadership for years, if not decades. UAE preaches Palestinian funding following Hamas' attack on Israel. US China ties can impact mankind's destiny. Sri Lanka to take over as a chair of Indian Ocean Rim Association. Titan Speed 2.6 crore for Sehrawat. Lucky June takes the honors in K. Srinivas Reddy Memorial Cup. Malala promised for an encore in upper division of Venus D. Milo Plate. No Gil for India's next match against Afghanistan. Kohli gets a gold medal for his magnificent fielding. I started teaching when I was 13, says a Netherlands batter, oh doubt. We did well as a bowling unit, says Kiwi spinner Santner. Kiwis ride on Santner's all-round show make it two in a row. England braces for a trial by spin against Bangladesh. Battered Sri Lanka looks to get its act together against Pakistan. Well began is off done as India ticks most boxes. Glad I'm able to inspire kids to take up the sport, Neeraj. The reigning Olympic, World and Asian Games javelin champion thanks CSCI, the governments and corporate groups for promoting sports and games in the country. IOC and Reliance signed deal to boost Olympic sports. Stroll says he paused out during Qatar GP. Cricket proposed for inclusion in 2028 Olympics. Kuldeep attributes success to more pace in his deliveries. Tickets for JFC Asian Cup 2023 through go on sale from today. H1 HI names a 20-member junior team. Grenada holds Barcelona as Hamal becomes La Liga's youngest scorer. Living something he never dreamed of. Saurabh Walker roped in by New Zealand's cricket as performance analyst for the ongoing Men's ODI World Cup had been part of the Afghanistan setup in the T20 World Cup held in UAE in 2021 and has had a successful stint with Manchester Originals in the 100. Tennis entrepreneur Aditya Khanna, a master craftsman. My friendship in tennis extends behind the court, adding a layer of joy to my life. India needs youth mental health focus to strike demographic gold. India's policies need to shift from a current medical model of mental health to the convergent model, which recognizes the complex interplay of behavioral, environmental, biological, and genetic factors throughout an individual's life. Scientists untangle mystery of the earliest galaxies. A primer on measuring sound with the Dipoli around the corner. Text talk and context and using numbers share of people who call telemanas in the 18 to 45 age group. Urban areas see drop in unemployment rates in April June. People displaced in heavy flooding in southern Myanmar. The number of days assemblies of poll-bound states met. The number of civilians displaced in the Gaza Strait. The state of India's scheduled areas. How are such areas identified and governed? What did the Bhuria Committee in 1995 recommend? Or how the provisions of the Panchayats Extension to Scheduled Areas Act of PSA in 1996 changed governance of scheduled areas? Know your English. What is multimodal artificial intelligence and why is it important? In multimodal systems, users can engage with AI in several ways. If AI systems are to be as close a likeness of the human mind as possible, the natural course would have to be multimodal. The past couple of years have seen a stream of such AI systems being released. It was a record-breaking Asian Games for India at Hangzhou, China. Test yourself on the nation's performance at this year's games. This is the last page, guys. If you want to know about if you are facing, I like understanding the words meaning. So just go to the Google translation from English to any other languages. You guys can easily translate and got to know the words meaning. If you guys are facing any difficulties, please let me know and leave the comment in the comment box so that I can help you with your doubts and clear your doubts. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading, guys. See you in the upcoming videos. And before going to end this video, I'm requesting you to please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends. It may useful for them to utilize the opportunities which will be provided by the Akshadare and team. And see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.